Hey everybody, it's Ryan here, and it is shoulder week here on my channel, shoulder mobility week specifically to help improve your shoulder mobility. Now, I probably don't have to tell you why shoulder mobility is important, but let me refresh some really important things when it comes to powerlifting and building strength in a squat, bench, and deadlift. Doesn't have to be powerlifting because you still do the big lifts in bodybuilding so that you can build muscle and get jacked. Is understanding that when you have to squat, you have to get your arms behind the bar position here. And a lot of times, if you don't have good position with the barbell on your back, you're going to have elbow pain, you're going to pitch forward, it's going to ruin a lot of your positioning, which will rob power away from your body, basically leaving power on the table. If you improve your mobility, improve some of your positions, you're going to be able to lift more weight. Second, improving your ability to be injury proof. If you're able to move better and get into ideal positions, you're going to decrease the chance of having overuse injuries. Like in my case, tend to have some elbow issues, tend to have some shoulder issues. And if you want to fix these things, or wrist issues too sometimes, if you want to fix these things, got to work on your shoulder mobility. If you're familiar with me, you know that I'm a personal trainer. I've been a personal trainer for 13, 14 years, or since 2001. And I'm also an NASM certified personal trainer. I'm also PES, which stands for Performance Enhancement Specialist, and CES, Corrective Exercise Specialist. My main passion has always been corrective exercise because I've always had so many problems getting into athletics or getting into working out that it made me want to understand how the back worked and why people had back pain, why people had shoulder pain. And this is kind of why my whole kind of YouTube journey has been about flexibility, like with Kelly Starret. I'll link a video in the description about a really great video that K-Star made about shoulder problems when it comes to shoulder impingement. But one of the quick assessment things that you can look at when it comes to improving your shoulder mobility or realizing if you do have shoulder mobility problems is do you have full range of motion? Now, one simple test you can do to anybody or for yourself for that matter, if you put your arms to your side, like so, and you relax them to your side, and just relax. Stand tall. Where do your hands lie? Now, look at your thumbs. Are they intersecting? If you were to push your thumbs out like I do now, like this, while your arms are to your side, what's going to happen? If you draw a line from your thumbs, will they intersect? Right? Now, think about this for a second. If you were to pull your shoulder blades back just a little bit and then drive them down, you don't have to pull them all the way back, but almost all the way back. Look at where your thumbs are now. The thumbs are pointed forward. This is kind of why it's really important to have good posture, good shoulder mobility to help prevent injury. Because a lot of the time when you have really bad internal rotation in the shoulder like so, what's going to end up happening is that as you do a bench press, as you do an overhead press, as you do a lateral raise or some shoulder strengthening exercise, or even a skull crusher, what you're doing is you're increasing the probability that the delts or the supraspinatus, the rotator cuff muscles, are going to impinge on that shelf. The shelf is being the acromion process. This is that tip of the bone here. Going up, you have probability of running into that thing. Now think about putting lots of weight, 300 pounds plus, 250 pounds, whatever you want, 800 pounds, big benchers, right? 2, if you are moving really, really fast, like throwing a ball, it puts a lot of stress on the shoulder and runs the risk of stuff running into one another. So we want to improve these positions. So today's homework, things to consider when it comes to improved mobility is to, number 1, let's clean up the tissues, let's clear things out so that tissue moves better. Remember, muscles are surrounded in fascia. They are kind of like in a capsule of film, and that stuff kind of, it's encapsulated by that's what the muscle is encapsulated by. And when you roll and you foam roll, it helps break up the tissue so that way the tissue can slide around. Now, how do you know this works? Simple. You just do a retest. One thing I do know that's a really big difference for me is seeing how well I can put my hands above my head. Now, if I can put my hands above my head, because this is the number one thing, do you even have full range of motion? I mean, getting full range of motion is really tough for some people. Look at me here, just put my hands above my head with look at my position. See how bad my mobility is? I am a brick. Someone asked me if I was a brick. Where you started out as a brick? I pretty much started out as a brick. But anyways, looking up above my head, look how far my hands go. They don't even go fully back. They can. I can force them there. Obviously I'm very strong. I can get it back there. But the problem is, can I get there passively or with very little restriction? And that's kind of the key things. If you can get there with little restriction, that means that you have good tissue. But one of the good tests that I like to do is an overhead squat. Can you squat with your hands above your head? Now, if you can't do this, it doesn't mean you have to be able to do this, but this is a good indicator if you have strength and flexibility in those movements. If you've been following me for any period of time, last year around this time, I actually did a little series called The Broken Leopard about trying to conquer the overhead squat. And understand that one of my biggest problems was being able to do an overhead squat. I still barely can, but one thing I know I could not do before is I could not do a cold overhead squat. Now, earlier today I did work out. It's about, 7 o'clock at night here, and I'm pretty warm. It's a hot day, so I'm actually pretty warm. I did some mobility work in the morning, smashing some tissues, but let's go see how well my overhead squat looks. Now, that was probably horrific looking to a lot of people's standards, but if you know me, that's pretty damn amazing. Because it's almost impossible for me to do that, to even get, I know you can't really tell if I went to parallel or not, but I was a parallel, maybe a little bit higher, but it was pretty damn good. So, for my standards, for my current situation. So understand that what you're trying to do when you're trying to improve shoulder mobility is to be able to have full range of motion, being able to go into shoulder flexion, shoulder internal rotation and adduction, external rotation, flexion, all these movements. You want to be able to go to this extension position so that way you can bench more weight, you can get in a better position, your shoulder doesn't dump. So everything that I do in this video series for the rest of the week will be based on improving these movements and getting better at them, so that way we can do it together, because essentially what I want to do is not have any shoulder problems and shoulder pain. So anyways, prepare to take a look at some of my stuff, and I'll see you guys in the next video, which is basically going to be a homework video.